Hello, welcome and thank you for visiting the Open Leadership channel. My name is Michael Breeze, and on this video, the second of 4 on the helpful beliefs for leaders, I'll explain why your weakness is your strength. Now, I hope you find this video useful. Do stay till the end of the video to see how you can get access to more free resources. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, it would be a great help to me if you could, and it makes it much easier for me to carry on producing free resources for people who want them and need them if you subscribe. So please do. Thank you. In the last video, I explained as part of helpful belief number 1, if you're going to become a good leader, then a helpful belief is it's not about you. Now, in this video, I'll cover the second of the 4 helpful beliefs, which is that your weakness is your strength. This belief strongly relates to the first one. So if you can adopt the two beliefs together, it's not about you and your weakness is your strength. That they will offer you a powerful foundation as you build your open leadership approach. So why do I say that your weakness is your strength? Well, let me offer you an example that might help to illustrate this. Some years ago, I was working with coaching a senior leader who had a secret that he worked hard to hide from his colleagues and his team. Now, he believed that he was a control freak, his words, and that his resultant tendency to want detailed plans before he could act showed that he was indecisive, even cowardly. Again, his words, but this is what he felt about himself, that being over cautious but needing to detail plan and think everything through before he would act was something that he tried to mask from his people. These parts of his personality were a great worry to him, and ultimately he felt that he wasn't really a leader, that he was faking it all of the time, and having to do all this detailed planning to stay on top of things and not to be revealed as a poor leader. Or a strange person even. Now, in my work with his team, I heard a very different version of how he showed up as a leader. His team enormously admired and appreciated his ability to think through plans and things that needed doing and spot risks and possible problems that lay ahead. They actually said to me, or at least one of them said to me, they'd never before experienced leadership that kept them out of trouble so well as this guy's ability to think things through and plan did. However, it was also clear that they felt that he kept up barriers between him and his people, and that he seemed a little distant and ill at ease a lot of the time. Now, perhaps this manager's need for detailed planning before action was a little bit extreme, but years of working and living this way had allowed him to develop an extraordinary skill as a planner and as a manager. So his weakness was his strength. But because he worked so hard to mask that weakness as he saw it, 2 things happened. Firstly, he hid a lot of the methods, his skills, his approaches to planning and organising from other people, because he thought they'd make him look obsessive or at least strange, different. Consequently, others didn't benefit from the possible learnings of what he'd learned to do, his skills and his abilities in that area. And secondly, unknowingly, he left his people feeling that he was a little distant and hard to approach at times, because he was anxious about people seeing him in full, warts and all. He kept himself guarded, he kept himself with the mask up. Now, and in effect, this was because he didn't feel confident enough about himself as a person and a manager to allow his teams to see all of him. And because of this, the world wasn't getting all that he had to offer. In reality, of course, human strengths and weaknesses often come in pairs like this. It's similar to the example we just talked about, the overcautiousness, a bit hesitant, slow to act, versus which is the weakness, as some might see it, versus the enormous or very strong planning skills, the strength that others might observe. But I've seen many other examples that are quite common. The seemingly oversensitive person who was remarkable at spotting and empathising with her people's fears and worries when she was leading major change in her organisation. The brilliant presenter, public speaker, salesperson who often failed to listen well to other people. The bold and decisive leader who didn't always understand threats and risks, but those things are a pair as well sometimes. But many examples. Now, if you read the biography of just about any of the great figures from history, you'll almost always find some surprising and major weaknesses behind the story of their great strengths. I suppose it's inevitable that if you have some super strengths, you may have equal and opposite major weaknesses or challenges. Um, so if we can't have super strengths, great skills or ability without the weaknesses, then surely shouldn't we celebrate and embrace our weaknesses as the inevitable consequence of our strengths? Of course, we all have strengths and weaknesses. If we spend energy masking our weaknesses because we fear they reveal a side of us that we're not ready to share, we lose part of the whole of us that the world needs if we're to benefit from the miracle of diversity. So, what's the miracle of diversity? Why do I use that phrase? Well, in theory, among the human race, a team or group of people could have every every strength and weakness that humankind has to offer. And this means that consequently, theoretically, no possible solution, idea, plan, or opportunity, there's none of those that can't be arrived at, that the human race isn't capable of delivering, because we all have these varying degrees and varying natures of strengths and weaknesses. So we can be formed in groups into a remarkable thing. Now, this is a powerfully important thing to remember when you're leading teams. But it's only true, it only works, truly works, if we all share ourselves, warts and all, if we have the courage to put our whole selves out there and not hide part of ourselves away, as in the example we talked about earlier. There's a great quote that I think applies well to this from Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson was the 28th president of the United States, and I am paraphrasing slightly, but his quote's fabulous, I think. Caution is the secret agent of selfishness. It's a phrase worth thinking about in this context of, are we brave enough to give all of ourselves and allow our weaknesses to be seen? Now, we shouldn't wish away this mixture of strengths and weaknesses. We shouldn't wish that it was any different, this balance, this range of possible strengths and weaknesses, because it's what makes our species so spectacularly successful and capable of devising, creating, delivering the seemingly endless range of ideas, solutions, inventions that litter our history of progress from the wheel to nanotechnology. So, hiding our weaknesses and hiding from them reduces our whole self to a curated version of ourselves that we think is more acceptable to ourselves or to others, like a highly posed and photoshopped version of ourselves on Instagram. It isn't real. It's hard, actually probably impossible, to live up to, and it offers a false image of perfection that doesn't exist and doesn't contribute much to the world. But a further problem is that when we do this, when we deny our weaknesses, when we mask part of ourselves, what you don't acknowledge, you can't easily address. So when we accept and acknowledge our weaknesses, they become opportunities for improvement. We can then, because we're being open about it and we'll be able to be seen doing these things, we can develop strategies to mitigate our issues once they're out in the public view, as it were. We can work with differently skilled people. We can actively seek those people out to fill gaps and make our team more complete, given our weaknesses. People to collaborate with, to challenge us, to teach us. We can set about learning better skills or methods that mitigate those risks, tools, applications, whatever, that help us overcome or mitigate the degree of those weaknesses and turn them into opportunities for improvement. Now, that sort of authenticity, being the real you, being out there, is a very major learning area for leaders. And I urge all new and prospective leaders to spend at least some time reflecting and working on any masking that they might see in their own behaviours. There may always be some. We all have some things we're uncomfortable at. It's not just you, it really isn't. We all have this. We all have some tendencies to mask to one degree. But if you find that there's some particular areas you really, really, really worry about, people finding out, being out in the public, the things that you really do want to cover up, spend some time thinking about them and reflecting on them. Spend some things thinking about how you can mitigate them, but also how you can turn that into it's just you. It's part of you and it's okay. It's not always easy work, this, but it does pay enormous dividends. Not least because it makes your role as a leader in the public eye, as it were, or in the eye of your people, in the eye of your organisation, much easier, because you can drop the mask. The higher the mask, the more mask you have to hold up, the more distracting, tiring, exhausting, stressful it tends to be for leaders. So hopefully you can see why helpful belief 2 is that your weakness is your strength if you allow it to be. In the next video, I'll share another helpful belief and tell you why your team is smarter than you. Don't miss that one. So I hope this video was useful and of interest. Let me know your thoughts and comments below in the comments box below the video. Perhaps be brave enough to share your own experience of masking weaknesses, if that feels like a first step for you. Also, please remember to subscribe to the channel if you would. It makes it much easier for me, as I said at the start of the video. And also do hit the reminder bell to receive notifications when new content drops in, because you will, over the coming time, get all tools and methods for the Open Leadership approach. And now you can get access to more free resources at openleadershipbase.com. That's openleadershipbase.com. That includes excerpts from my book and other resources. My book, Stepping Up, How to Be Great in Your First or Next Leadership Role, is also available on Amazon. The link is in the box below. Now that's available if you wish to get an overview of the whole of the Open Leadership approach quickly rather than wait for videos to come out. But I will stress, all of those videos will come out, all of the content of the book, will come out in videos in the coming weeks and months. You could, at the website, you can also join the Open Leadership Base forum on LinkedIn and get involved in conversations with me and other leaders, share experience, ask questions, as well as letting me know what content you might want to see either on the website there or here on this channel. So it just remains for me to say thank you once more for visiting the Open Leadership channel, and see you next time.